At every level of society where people are mobilized to achieve their fullest potential while their rights and freedoms are protected, we can all work together to create a better Jamaica, one that secures our economic prosperity. Hi there, I'm Adrian Atkinson, and on that tip for success, we welcome you to Jamaica Magazine. Coming up on today's pages, expansion in shipping and logistics as local companies invest big. And later, meeting 100% demand for Irish potato locally. Sit back and relax for all these and so much more in our half-hour package.
I remember when I didn't like school and Mommy used to have to wake me up. Tabla, hurry up. You're going to be late for school.
Hey, now that I have a tablet, you don't need to wake me up. Since Mommy and Daddy bought me a tablet, I use my tablet for all kinds of cool stuff. I use my tablet to read books. I use my tablet to learn about history and science. I use my tablet to help with my homework. I even use it to talk to my daddy at work. Hello, Daddy!
Learning is easy and fun with a tablet. Take care of your tablet, use it wisely.
A healthy and educated people living in a clean, natural environment, reducing crime, improving the justice system and governance, building a prosperous economy. It's not just a vision, it's reality. Learn about the plan. Join the vision.
My country, Jamaica, has a rich heritage and is very unique. If we all pull together, we can make it the place of choice to
live, work, raise family, and to do business.
For more information on Vision 2030, call the Planning Institute of Jamaica or visit vision2030.gov.jm, your parish library, school library, or the Jamaica Information Service.
To achieve real growth, the country must successfully produce and compete in the global economy, providing goods and services that are second to none. Developments taking place at the Kingston Wharves are positioning the country to do just that. We have pictures of the work in progress.
Major private sector investments are being rolled out in support of Jamaica's quest for robust economic growth. Among them is Kingston Wharves Limited's $2.2 billion investment to implement the first phase of its port infrastructure renewal program. The overall plan is to create a state-of-the-art transshipment and logistics facility in Newport West over a 5-year period.
We are seeking to expand our business. There are tremendous opportunities around. Plus, Jamaica has one of the most strategic locations anywhere, comparable perhaps only to Singapore. And you know how they have leveraged their location. And that's what we are seeking to do here.
In preparation for this business expansion, Kingston Wharves had previously invested $30 million on necessary port equipment and land space. Its current $2 billion investment began in October 2014. The creation of new transshipment and logistics facilities includes construction of new warehouse buildings and other structures on the port. These will facilitate increased container handling and storage capability.
I have 20,000 square feet of mezzanine floor area, making the total gross floor area 162,000 square feet. The warehouse section is 27 feet of clear stacking at the eave of the building. I think it's about 39 feet at the ridge. We have 23 loading doors down that side, so all the containers will come directly from the wharf to the building, and immediately inside the doors will be 3 Jamaica Customs Agency scanners, and everything coming in will be scanned before it goes into the storage racking.
The design of the facility allows for additional space to be added as the logistics business grows over time.
We are a multi-purpose port. As you see, we handle cars, we handle containers. You saw lumber down there, you saw steel. We handle sulfuric acid, cooking oil, everything.
Expansion into different areas of logistics will enable them to handle increased cargo from larger ships, expected to flow through the Caribbean with the expansion of the Panama Canal. The expanded facility is one of the largest warehouse distribution centers in the island. 450 persons are expected to be employed at the end of this first phase of construction at Kingston Wharves in May 2017. The development will offer improved customer service as the model facility provides a one-stop shop with all shipping-related activities occurring under one roof.
So that we can make it a one-stop shop, very efficient, and hopefully they can get through in a couple of hours, whereas at the moment they use 3 warehouses on the berth and it can take them all day.
Persons shipping barrels will find collection an easier task too.
What we are moving to is a situation where the barrels will be pre-cleared. So the duty will be determined before the customer gets here, and he can pay that online. So when he comes here, he just picks up his barrel or whatever and goes. That's where we are heading.
Kingston Wharves Limited, the Caribbean's leading multi-purpose terminal operator, has also acquired a Liebherr 600 crane at a cost of $5 million. The equipment provides for rapid and efficient handling of containers and general bulk cargoes, and is an ideal handling solution for ships up to Super Post Panama size.
That's a company that is confident in the country's future and is putting their money where their mouth is by investing in the kind of equipment and the facility that will take us forward.
Kingston Wharves is a private Jamaican company providing connections to more than 40 ports around the world. The Caribbean's leading multi-purpose port terminal and logistics provider, committed to continual improvement, supporting a public-private consensus for robust economic growth and development.
Life is all about making decisions, choosing from a number of options to do a particular thing, which may result in a specific outcome.
It can be difficult, but there are 4 things you can do to help make that decision.
Stop. Check out what's happening and remind yourself to think before acting.
Think. Make sure you're aware of the choices, all the advantages and disadvantages. Then think about the consequences.
Act. Choose the best option and do something about it.
Review.
Finally, review what you have done and determine if it was good or bad. That way, you'll be in a better position to make the next decision, whether big or simple.
You can lower your salt intake by checking the labels when buying processed and packaged foods. Compare products and choose the options lower in salt. A low salt option should have less than 120 milligrams of sodium per 100 grams of food. Reduce the salt and increase your consumption of fresh unprocessed foods. When cooking and at the table, use herbs, spices, and other seasonings to give you great flavor and taste. A public service message from the Jamaica Information Service and the Ministry of Health.
Increasing local production to substitute imports is an important strategy to help grow the economy and improve the livelihoods of Jamaicans. Government is facilitating this by providing support to farmers in the form of input and technical assistance. Take a look.
Jamaican Irish potato farmers reaped 84% of local demand for the crop in 2015, but government is eyeing 100% capacity and is injecting $1.1 billion into the sector to get it done. That money will go towards planting 1,200 hectares under the Irish Potato Expansion Program, supplying 15 million kilograms of the crop. Addressing farmers at a sensitization seminar in October 2016, Minister without portfolio in the Agriculture Ministry, J.C. Hutchinson, said the support will take the form of grants and inputs.
The Ministry of Industry, Commerce, Agriculture and Fisheries has committed to contribute by direct cash injection $48.3 million to the provision of crop care and input supply, but over 700 million in productivity support.
Farmers are assured of a guaranteed market for their Irish potato.
You have here the buyers who have come and said that they are prepared to take off whatever you produce. So anybody who works their crop production right and do the proper practices in agriculture, you must make a profit.
The National Irish Potato Expansion Program is part of government's overall strategy to enhance Jamaica's food and nutrition capacity. Introduced in 2008, it aims to reduce imports, allow self-sufficiency, and provide more income for farmers. Training is part of the program.
This training here will include spray calibration, new planting techniques, and appropriate use of fertilizer to coincide with the 2016-2017 crop season. In addition, these measures will include utilizing the demonstration plots for proper land preparation, land husbandry, and pest management.
According to Minister Hutchinson, the cash injection and capacity building of the farmers will help to meet projections for the 2016-2017 planting season.
We intend to mobilize our efforts and adapt to climate change by increasing the climate resilience of the Irish potato subsector. Significantly, we will be seeking to introduce new planting areas, such as Darliston in Westmoreland, which have not been adversely affected by the recent yearly dry spells for crop expansion, South Manchester, St. Anne, and St. Elizabeth.
Also being targeted for August 2016 to July 2017 are a 10% or 18 ton per acre increase in production output, crop care and productivity support for 2 hectares per farmer, establishment of 8 validation plots for training, 2 farm exchange tours, and contracts to strengthen marketing agreements between farmers and buyers.
Our dream and strategic plan is to achieve full and sustained self-sufficiency, and so that this seminar today is another step on our journey to that goal.
Know your numbers and control the keys to a healthier heart. Know the numbers for your blood pressure, cholesterol level, blood glucose level, and your weight and body mass index. Find out the risks they represent and what you need to do to stay healthy. Talk to your doctor and start making healthy lifestyle choices to prevent a heart attack or stroke.
Up next, top stories making news this week.
Hi there, I'm Simone Wolf with your JIS News of the Week. Local government elections were held on Monday and resulted in the governing Jamaica Labour Party taking control of most local authorities island-wide. On Friday, the Electoral Office of Jamaica EOJ reported that it had completed the final counting for the 228 electoral divisions. A magisterial recount will be held for the Salt Spring Electoral Division in St. James Central. Major General Rocky Meade was installed as the new head of the Jamaica Defence Force on Thursday. He takes over from Major General Anthony Anderson, who has been appointed as Jamaica's first national security advisor. During the ceremony at King's House, Prime Minister Andrew Holness thanked the JDF for its years of contribution to national security, while reiterating that government had an unremitting resolve to address Jamaica's crime problem. That, he stressed, was the focus of the National Security Council.
Areas to be carefully examined will include deployment, mobility, investigative capacities, procedures, and legislation as we move to secure Jamaica.
The Alumina Partners of Jamaica Alpart, which was previously owned and operated by the Russian company UC Rusal, has been officially handed over to Chinese company Jiquan Iron and Steel. Production is now set to resume within the next 6 months, generating between 800 and 1,000 jobs.
And the implementation of those jobs, some being reinstated, some being new, on a 70-30 basis of implementation. A 70-30 of 70% Jamaican, 30% Chinese.
The Petroleum Corporation of Jamaica PCJ and the United Nations Development Programme, the UNDP, are embarking on a landmark renewable energy and energy efficiency project.
This intervention will serve to bolster our ongoing efforts to reduce public sector energy consumption while driving efficiency.
Meanwhile, Minister Andrew Wheatley has announced that the Office of the Prime Minister will soon be outfitted with solar panels through a contribution from the Clinton Foundation.
So we are not just about talk, we are about setting the example. And that project should come on stream and be fully in place by the middle of 2017.
The Petrocaribe Development Fund and the Caribbean Maritime Institute have signed a $400 million contract agreement to construct a Festo Fact Center at the CMI. The center will offer world-class training and certification in robotics, mechatronics, and automotive engineering.
We are now going to be in a position to train and certify students in high-tech jobs in production systems, such as bottling companies, as well as the automotive and biomedical industries. We are forging a partnership to advance skills development as we add value to government's growth agenda.
It was reported this week that Jamaica recorded tourism earnings of $2.06 billion from January to October. The island also registered an increase of 5.1% in visitor arrivals, with over 3.1 million total visitors. Portfolio Minister Edmund Bartlett says this puts the country on track to have a record year in tourism. And finally, the people of Jamaica, through Prime Minister Andrew Holness, this week joined with the people of Cuba in celebrating the life and work of former President Fidel Castro. Ahead of Tuesday's official private mass for foreign dignitaries in Cuba, Mr. Holness said the countries shared a strong fraternal relationship through cooperation in sport, health, education, and other areas.
The people of Jamaica view Fidel Castro with a sense of love, a sense of brotherhood.
Former President Fidel Castro died on November 25 at age 90. And those were some of the stories making news this week. I'm Simone Wolf.
I had a plan for my life. I was going to be a doctor. I was going to be the first in my family to do great things. Then a friend of mine sold me into prostitution. You mash up my life.
Stop human trafficking. It destroys lives. If you or anyone you know has been a victim of human trafficking, call 811 or 1-888-PROTECT. Be wise. Open your eyes. Spot them. Stop them. A message brought to you by the National Task Force Against Trafficking in Persons.
Nuestro país no es solo Cuba. Nuestro país es también la humanidad.
Our country is not just Cuba. Our country is also humanity. Fidel Alejandro Castro Ruz was born on August 13, 1926 in Biran, Cuba, to Angel Castro and Lina Ruz Gonzalez. He spent his youngest years on his father's farm, but spent most of his youth in Catholic boarding schools, excelling in academia and sports. After completing high school, he went on to study law at the University of Havana in 1945. 5 years later, he was a practicing attorney who often took on the cases of the mistreated and underpaid. During that transition, he also took a wife, Mirta Diaz Balart. Their marriage produced one son, Fidel Angel, fondly called Fidelito. They were divorced in 1955 and Fidel remarried Dalia Soto de Valle. They had 5 sons. His family extended in later years with 3 more children. Over the years, Castro grew frustrated with the regime of General Fulgencio Batista, where the wealth of Cuba seemed to remain in the hands of a few, while the majority were either just getting by or were struggling to survive. In 1953, Castro, or El Comandante as he was called, led a failed attack against the military. He was arrested and sentenced to 15 years in prison, but was released just 2 years after because of a political amnesty. Castro and his men wasted no time in planning another attack. By 1959, he succeeded and overthrew Batista. Fidel was only 32. He served as Prime Minister until 1976 when he became President of Cuba. It was time for a new start, but becoming leader was only a small part of the grand transformation that Cuba was to experience. Rent was cut for low-paid workers by as much as 50%, and land owned by Batista and his former ministers confiscated. Cuba's U.S.-owned telephone company was nationalized and land redistributed among peasants. Morally opposed to racism, drugs, prostitution, and gambling, Castro abolished segregation laws in public places such as swimming pools and cemeteries and passed laws to close down casinos and nightclubs. Other changes also came that would forever transform the Caribbean country.
The agrarian reform law was one of the major changes introduced in Cuba because Cuba had been a plantation system like so many of the Caribbean countries. And secondly was by 1961 the campaign to eradicate illiteracy. The education project, the literacy project, has been central to the Cuban Revolution. And the other project that they decided on was the project of raising the health of the population. And this they did by the training of Cuban medical personnel and sending them out into the rural areas.
Castro was a controversial world figure, lauded as a champion of anti-imperialism, humanitarianism, socialism, and environmentalism by his supporters, but viewed as a dictator by his critics. Through his actions and his writings, he influenced world politics.
The strengths of Castro's leadership, I would say, enormously courageous, going on that armed struggle back into Cuba, lost many men and some women, but obviously a person of great charismatic qualities that drew to him some of the best people in Cuba, and he's able to communicate his enthusiasm for change.
Fidel Castro is also credited for being the longest-serving head of state for any country in the Western Hemisphere. He served for over 47 years. Cuba and Jamaica have enjoyed a meaningful diplomatic relationship since 1972. Cuba has contributed to Jamaica's educational development with the donation of Jose Marti and Garpi Maceo High Schools and the G.C. Foster College of Physical Education. Jamaica's healthcare also received a well-needed boost through the Miracle Eye Care program and the Ophthalmology Center, which Cuba donated. Thousands of Jamaicans have benefited from eye care services, including surgeries and medication. In the area of culture, the Cuban government, which has centered its entire policy framework on the cultural development of its people, has offered technical support to the Jamaican government in the development of projects and programs. In education, over 600 medical students have received scholarships from the government of Cuba, and since the late 1970s has been granting academic scholarships for Jamaicans to study in Cuba in order to hone knowledge and skills in sports science. Also, through the country's Yo Si Puedo, or Yes I Can literacy program, several adults in the parish of St. Mary have learned to read and write.
Cuba, on the other hand, benefited a lot from the research that was done by our scientists on the cows that were developed in Jamaica. Cuba also was impressed, believe it or not, in the 1970s at the prominence of black people in all areas of the state, because this was not the case in Cuba even after the revolution. And I think Castro himself spoke to that in the 70s when he spoke about the need for more blacks and women to be represented in the state, in the bureaucracy, in the armed forces, and so on.
The robust El Comandante had to deal with a string of illnesses during his last political years, which caused him to take time away from political life to recuperate. In 2008, Fidel Castro permanently gave up the Cuban presidency and handed over power to his brother Raúl Castro. He never feared death but embraced his final destiny. The man Fidel Castro has been silenced, but his fundamental role in Cuba's development will continue to speak for generations to come.
Fidel Castro is a revolutionary, and he should be remembered for his revolutionary legacy.
Una revolución es una lucha a muerte entre el futuro y el pasado.
A revolution is a struggle to the death between the future and the past.
When using an automated banking machine ABM, ensure the machine is in a location you are comfortable with, and when you enter, be sure to close the door. Examine the machine before you insert your debit card, and never enter your card if the machine has a suspicious device attached to it. More important, don't allow strangers to assist you in conducting a transaction. And remember, treat your debit card like cash. Keep it in a safe place.
And this is where we take our leave on yet another enlightening edition of Jamaica Magazine. We value your feedback, so keep the link through our various social media platforms. Send an email to jamaicamagazine@jis.gov.jm and visit our website, jis.gov.jm, for the latest on government information. Until next time, I'm Adrian Atkinson, reminding you to take care of your health, eat well, exercise, get adequate rest, and make every day a productive one.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.